For most of history, the soldier was a war's most valuable asset. But in the wars of tomorrow, the soldier might just be a liability. Imagine a conflict with no human casualties on the front line because there are no humans. A war decided not by bravery, but by algorithms. And this isn't some far-off sci-fi fantasy. It's the future that military planners are building right now. A future where overwhelming drone swarms and AI generals could run the whole show. But what would this future actually look like? Would it create a safer world? Or would it unleash dangers we can't even comprehend? Today we'll explore what would happen if drones controlled the entire war, from the incredible strategic possibilities to the terrifying new risks. Section 1. The dawn of algorithmic warfare. The idea of a fully automated war feels like a massive leap, but it's really the final step on a path we've been on for decades. We've gone from simple reconnaissance drones to the hunter-killer predators of the early 2000s to the terrifyingly effective systems we see today. The war in Ukraine has become a real-world testing ground, with both sides deploying many thousands of drones every month. In some areas, these small, explosive-laden aircraft are now considered a leading cause of combat casualties. This isn't just a new weapon. It's a fundamental change to the DNA of warfare. To understand a future where drones are in total control, we need to look at three core technologies that are making it possible. First, the AI general. Military command structures haven't changed much since the Napoleonic era, built for a world of maps, messengers, and human gut feelings. But modern warfare is a flood of data from satellites, sensors, and countless drones. Way too much for any human team to process. An AI general, however, can sift through doctrinal manuals, analyze battlefield data in real time, and generate operational plans in seconds. The U.S. Army is already pushing industry to develop AI tools for decision dominance as part of its next-generation command and control initiative. In recent Air Force experiments designed to test speed, an AI generated multiple courses of action in under 10 seconds, a task that took a human planner several minutes. This isn't about replacing a general. It's about creating a command entity that thinks at the speed of modern war. Second is the concept of the drone swarm. Forget one sophisticated drone. Imagine thousands of cheap, interconnected, and autonomous drones moving as a single, intelligent entity like a swarm of bees. This is the principle behind the Pentagon's Replicator Initiative, which aims to deploy thousands of inexpensive, attritable drones that commanders can afford to lose. The goal is to overwhelm an adversary's defenses. A multi-million-dollar air defense missile might take down a drone, but it can't stop 1,000 at once. China is also aggressively developing swarm technology, with reports of mothership drones capable of releasing over 100 smaller drones at once. These swarms don't need a central leader. They communicate with each other, adapting their strategy in real time if some are destroyed, making them incredibly resilient. And third, this all leads to fully autonomous targeting. Right now, most systems operate with a human in the loop, a person who gives the final command to fire. The next step is human on the loop, where a person supervises the machine, which can fire on its own unless told not to. A drone-controlled war exists in the final stage. Human out of the loop. Here, the machine itself identifies, tracks, and engages a target based on its programming without any direct human intervention. We're already seeing this trend accelerate. With the sheer volume of drones being used in conflicts like Ukraine, the pressure to automate is growing out of necessity, not just by design. So with AI generals planning the strategy and autonomous swarms executing it, what does the battlefield actually become? Section 2. The unmanned battlefield. The single greatest advantage and the main driver of this revolution is removing human risk from the front lines. When you send a swarm of drones to attack a position, you aren't sending sons, daughters, fathers, or mothers into harm's way. This fundamentally changes the political calculation of war. The high cost of human life, which has acted as a brake on conflict for generations, is suddenly lessened, potentially lowering the threshold for starting a war in the first place. This new battlefield is also defined by a shocking level of asymmetric advantage. The war in Ukraine has provided brutal proof of this. We see videos daily of small, first-person view, or FPV drones, some costing just a few $100s, destroying tanks worth millions. One Ukrainian drone unit, Birds of Magyar, reported hitting over 5,000 targets in a single month. This logic scales up dramatically. Why build a billion-dollar destroyer when an enemy can disable it with a swarm of 1,000 sea-skimming drones? The U.S. Navy is already preparing for this reality, developing software that simulates swarm attacks to figure out how to best use them and defend against them. This is the hellscape scenario that some military leaders envision, an environment so saturated with cheap, smart, and lethal drones that an enemy's expensive, traditional military hardware becomes almost useless. Beyond the cost savings, a drone-controlled army offers terrifying efficiency. Drones don't need to sleep, eat, or rest. They don't feel fear or panic in the heat of battle. They can provide 24/7 surveillance over a target, waiting patiently for the perfect moment to strike. An integrated force of air, land, and sea drones could conduct perfectly synchronized attacks across multiple fronts at once, an operational tempo no human army could ever hope to match. The result is a war of attrition where the main thing being worn down is machinery. The side with the most robust supply chains and manufacturing capacity could sustain its combat power indefinitely. This vision of a clean, efficient war fought without frontline casualties is incredibly seductive. But this efficiency comes at a cost, creating a new set of dangers that could be even more catastrophic than the ones we know today. Section 3. The new dangers. When both sides of a conflict have AI generals making decisions at machine speed, the very nature of escalation changes forever. A small border skirmish, misidentified by an algorithm, could spiral into an all-out war in seconds before a single human has time to understand what's happening, let alone intervene. This is the specter of flash war, where conflicts erupt and escalate at a pace beyond human comprehension or control. Then there's the black box problem of AI. Advanced artificial intelligence often works in ways that its own creators don't fully understand. An AI general might launch an attack that seems illogical or even catastrophic to us. Who is held responsible when a machine commits a war crime? If an autonomous drone mistakenly targets a hospital or a school bus, who is accountable? The programmer? The manufacturer? The commander who deployed it? International law is built on human intent, but these concepts break down when the decision-maker is an algorithm with no morality or legal standing. This accountability gap is one of the biggest ethical hurdles, with many organizations calling for an outright ban on such weapons. And of course, a military force that's entirely networked is a military force that's entirely hackable. If a war is fought by interconnected drones, then cyber warfare becomes the ultimate high ground. An enemy wouldn't need to destroy your drones if they could just take control of them, turning your own army against you. Counter-drone tech, from high-powered microwaves to lasers and GPS spoofing, is advancing quickly, but it's a constant cat-and-mouse game. A future war might be won not by the side with the most drones, but by the side with the best hackers.